What is the most basic thing you've ever had to explain to an adult? How to double click a mouse. He did not get it, despite repeated demonstrations, and I was supposed to teach this guy how to build a database. I tried to explain to a coworker the concept of right-clicking something for the context menus. She wrote it off as something new and unnecessary, and did not seem to understand that right-click menus have been part of operating systems this whole time. I do not know if I'm truly patient or just dead inside, because it is not the first time I have explained this to her. Could have been a Mac user. That one button mouse ruined an entire generation. I used a Mac for the first time in my college's computer lab. The one button mouse made me sick and angry. To a manager of all things. For dunk's sake, why it is best to directly notify any employee of a shift change that happens outside work hours and affects their next scheduled day, and getting confirmation from them instead of just vaguely posting a notice to all employees on a messaging app. Better than that, I had a manager that would change shifts on the schedule that was posted at the back of the office door. I missed shift that she had added while I was off for 3 days and not told me about, and she told me it was my responsibility to be checking the schedule. Like, Maram, I am not commuting into the city 50 minutes each way just on the off chance you decided to change the schedule. You have my number. Yeah, no kidding. In my case it is all digital, but I can only see it from my home computer through remote desktop because secure servers, yet they still have the attitude like we can see it anytime because it is online. Not really, and I guess I'm permanently on standby while clocked out with no pay, right? Just today you cannot just ask Google support to give you access to an email address we do not own. Oh, you leave that to me, honey. I will just talk to the manager of the internet. The elders of the internet. You broke the internet, Jen. That I do not want to be depressed. I just am. Just be happy. You know what? I think I will do that. I will also just be a trust fund baby. Turning off the router does not save Wi-Fi. I wonder if the digital generations of today will be as digitally handicapped when we get up in age and current technology has advanced to something that is almost unrecognizable to what we were brought up with. I do not think it is the people that's the issue. If people resist learning the new tech, they become digitally handicapped. I know people in their 40s, 50s, and even late 60s who are perfectly okay with our tech and are not digitally handicapped. If you decide to learn new tech stuff as it grows and advances, you will not have this handicap. I used to do customer service phone support for a few years. I have talked to tons of 80, 90-year ladies who love their phone and have no problem with stuff like MFA. 40, 50-year-old dudes who do not bother with those new cell phones are hella common. It boils down to whether or not they give a damn. Back in college, my girlfriend said, "I do not understand how you can find me so sexy first thing in the morning." I asked, "What do you mean?" "Well, whenever you wake up next to me, you are so, you know, down there." Apparently she had no idea what morningwood was, or that it had nothing to do with her. Serious question. Does that go away with age? Or do guys have to deal with that until age steals their boner power altogether? Nope, I'm 45 and have to carefully roll out to bed every morning. I cannot speak for anyone else, but I think it is just like that. I unfortunately know that my 82-year-old neighbor has them too. His bathrobe cannot hide that shit. I do not understand how he can find you so sexy first thing in the morning. Having windshield wipers in mid-wipe when turning off the car does not drain the car battery. Okay, but anyone who turns off the car at half wipe is a monster in my book. They are the same degenerates that turn their TV volume to an odd number like 23. That Africa is in fact not a country. Also every 60 seconds in Africa are minute passes. RIP minute, Manute. And he died in 2010. The date Christmas was that year. No, not which day it fell on. For example, a Tuesday or a Friday. The date. Me, it is always on the 25th. My friend asked me what date Halloween was on last year. Just because you can does not mean you should. Also, just because you don't want to doesn't mean you shouldn't. You have to cook the chicken all the way through. It is not steak. You cannot have it medium rare. You could. But it comes with salmonella. Like a surf and turf. I like salmonella. I have it on bagel sometimes. But I am not sure why you'd have it with chicken. Years ago my wife and I were at a fish smockery and they had various flavors of smoked fish. Still a running joke with Bus that the vanilla salmon flavor would have an unfortunate name. Where Canada was on a map, it is where we live. It is the second largest country in the world. How the duck do they miss that? I'm still convinced that this was an elaborate joke. I find it hard to believe too, but a long time ago I read something like that 30 or something of people like cannot point to where they live on a map. Sorry, the details became really vague since it was so long time I read it. But point is it is a surprising amount. Had to explain to my roommate that 1. You cannot hammer a screw and expect it to work. 2. 8-pound cat is a healthy weight range and he does not need to be curvy. 3. You file taxes every year. My grandfather, who was a carpenter, contended that wood screws are meant to be driven with a hammer, and the threads are there to make them easier to remove. How to put a key onto a key ring. I am depressed just remembering it. I have a friend who is not the brightest individual. We were hanging out at his place one night and had the munches. He asked if I wanted some french fries. I said absolutely. Well, 20 minutes later or so, he summoned me to his kitchen. He couldn't understand why the fries turned out a mushed mess. He had tried to fry them in boiling water, you know, like they do at fast food joints. Lol. I had to explain to my dear friend that they aren't boiling the fries in water. It's oil. You half-wit. That was 20 years ago and I still get a kick out of it. Okay, so explain why boiling them in oil is called frying. Frying is the term for cooking something in oil. The oil at fast food places is not boiling. It only bubbles when food is added because the water in the food boils out, turns into gas and rises. When working retail percentages, our clearance was usually 50 off. Then at the end of the season it would be an additional 50 off. Our signage would normally say something about taking an additional 50 off of lowest sticker price. But then they'd see the small print on the sticker indicating it was already 50 off. And they'd come up to the register all in a tizzy. Like, how dare we use deceptive business practices? If we honored our advertising, this should be free, because 50, 50, 100 and 100 off means free. I had to give way too many people basic math lessons in my nice customer service voice, all while they gave me the distrustful stink eye. So, just to make sure I'm not a dummy, your example would be 75 off by the second markdown. Yep, it would have been easier to just print that on a sign. But things were usually marked down with a sticker once, which was super time consuming. And then the percentage off the sticker would keep changing with signs. An extra 30 off, an extra 50 off, etc. A cheeseburger, no cheese, and a hamburger are the same damn sandwich. Back in the day I used to work at a Burger King. Back has two sizes of burgers, Whoppers and hamburgers. A Whopper Jr. is just the hamburger size patty bun with the usual Whopper toppings. People would constantly order Whopper Juniors without many, or all, of the toppings. If I was in a nice mood, I would ring it up as a hamburger because it would be cheaper, especially if it was plain. About every 10th customer would not accept any explanation as to what was happening, so I gladly charged them extra if they insisted. I once had to explain to a customer that him wanting Doritos Locos Tacos did not change the fact that he would driven to a Burger King. Yeah. Can I get a Big Mac and a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger? I have to explain marginal tax rates every year during tax season. It is shocking to see adults willingly turn down overtime and bonuses for fear of paying more taxes. My brother works in finance, and I had to explain this to him. He thought his marginal tax rate was just what he paid on everything through most of his 20s. Jesus. He has never done the math even once to realize he is clearly not paying his highest bracket S rate on everything. That my friend did not in fact have ammonia in his lungs. I tried to explain what pneumonia was, and he asked why I thought I was smarter than a doctor. He refused to believe that he misheard his diagnosis. The order of operations for coming over. 1. Ask if I'm around, and if now is a good time to come over. 2. Wait for confirmation. 3 if step 2 yes. Come on over. Do not skip step 2 and then get angry when you're outside and I'm not responding. I have a friend who just skips step 1 entirely. Are they in a 90s sitcom? Not me but my friend. She is a dental assistant and had to explain to an 18-year-old patient of hers that he needs to brush his teeth every day with a toothbrush. He brushed his teeth once a day with a toothpick. Yes, his gums were completely ripped and his teeth full of holes and caries. My friend had to go get a model and a toothbrush and show him how long and where to brush. Reminds me of a story I read on Not Always Right in which a dentist had a 2-year-old in the chair. Said kid's baby teeth were completely rotted out. Father flipped his shit when the dentist told him that he would fail to take care of his daughter's teeth. She is too young to brush her teeth. She is. And that's why you have to do it. Strangely enough, it was a surprise to me too. My parents did not take care of my teeth. I just started doing it myself once I was old enough, and they were in good condition right up until my adult set came in. I would never thought about parents needing to brush their toddler's teeth. That poor kid probably drank soda too. Yeah. Kid teeth are fairly resilient, especially when paired with an age-appropriate diet. If a 2-year-old's teeth were rotting, then it is almost definitely not just lack of brushing, but also a terrible diet. Poor kid. With AnyDesk I can connect and set up your mail for you. Just go to AnyDesk.com and download it. What? On the internet? Actual excerpt from a phone call with a client last week. That you need to feed, bathe, stimulate your dog. It's a living animal, not a doll or a toy. It wants attention and training so they can behave. Had to explain to my brother that he can buy an $80k car on his $12 an hour job, not even in payments. He wanted to save up the full amount. I literally had to sit down with him and do the math. It would have taken him 15 years to save up that money. Also, it wasn't even for him. He wanted to give it to his girlfriend for graduation. Lol, he is 20 and she is 18. I told him, bro, just save that up for a house. When an adult is kidnapped, it's still called kidnapping. Nah, it's only kidnapping for minors to protect their identity. Once over the age of 18, it becomes insert first name napping. Egg. Did you hear Dave was dabbing up the other day? You are welcome. Blackheads in your nose are not worms. Amazing. Why there are videos of random people on an app on my phone. Customer has coupon for 10 off their purchase. They ask me, is it 10 off the total or 10 off each item? I tell them it is the same thing either way. Argument ensues. Just tell them whichever gives the biggest discount should keep them happy. You can use regular dish soap in the dishwasher. Roommate in college found out when the dishwasher spilled out onto the floor. Was quite humorous. You can use regular dish soap in the dishwasher. You just have to use much less of it. Learned from personal experience. A feral cat is not part squirrel. Lol, I cannot imagine what that exchange was like. Some adults don't understand what's wrong with slavery and it's really worrisome. They fully understand and comprehend. Go force them into unpaid labor and see how quick they find a problem with it. They just do not mind others going through it. There is no problem with it. I'm being paid in exposure. The reason it's called working for exposure is because that is what you lines die of by working for free and having to live under a bridge all winter. Children at the event still need a ticket. That's why we sell child tickets. But has 6. Disliking a certain body part or feature is not the same as body shaming. Example, I don't like body hair or feet. I think both are gross. However, I'm not going to shame or judge someone for having body hair or feet because I am not a moron. It's their body. They do what they want with it. I don't have a problem with people having it. I don't care if they have it or not. I don't care if they shave or not. I don't care about people's feet. Do what you want with them. Whatever it is your feet. If you like it, that's okay. Not liking something is not the same as shaming it. Please post this on Twitter and Facebook instead, so the offenders can actually read it. Oh no, the offender was here on Reddit. Got into a heated argument with a moron yesterday because apparently me not liking something is now wrong, and not liking a body part is now body shaming. I tried to dumb the explanation down as much as I possibly could, but it's just too hard of a concept for some people to grasp. A friend of mine knew that the sun is the center of the solar system, but thought that days occurred because the earth orbited the sun once a day. This guy graduated college with a business degree. From personal experience working with a multitude of different businesses, knowing what you are doing is not a criteria. I have had to explain to salesmen how consumer law works, what a credit note is to accountants, and the difference between a lease agreement and any other form of sales agreement to managers. It's nuts. I fully believe there is some form of global conspiracy going on where there is like this handful of super competent people creating rules and regulations to make sure the less competent people can lick power outlets without endangering themselves. That you have to have a driver's license to drive a rental car. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.